Okay, so I think we can start. So today is our wait a minute. And today is our 10th Sanskrit class, and thank you very much for coming. And it's already our 10th Sanskrit class, and so today we are going to deal with actually two things. The first one, as I'll probably before we start, before we move on to today's lectures, probably we can have a review of what we have done previously. So on Tuesday, we checked the verbs, right? The verbs of Sanskrit. Tuesday is the Tokharian class, but we talk about the Sanskrit verbs because they are fundamental for our understanding of Indo-European languages. So based on this knowledge, I mean, the verbal system of Sanskrit, it is actually the perfectly preserved compared with many Indo-European languages. It is much better preserved. I mean, at least compared to like Celtic languages, I mean, Sanskrit is much more friendly, right? Okay, so we have, but we actually talk about present, right? And present is actually only one of the several important classes, right? So actually, they are present, they are aorist, they are actually perfect. These three are actually three most important categories. Yeah. Okay. I didn't explain the tense group because actually I explained actually tense group in a previous class about the Pali word density. If anyone has I'm sure that some of you have seen this video about the Pali word called, this is Pali, density, which means to teach, right? It actually comes from the 10th class. Well, I mean, of course, I can talk more about it, but for the time being, I just outline the, how do you say that, the structure of the verbal system. So we talk about present, and in the future classes, not today, we're going to talk about aorist and perfect. And last time we talked about the, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about this class, right? This eighth class. Oh no, sorry. The fifth class. This one. So I copied this here. So this is actually what we have done last time. We talked about the nasal present, right? So we talk about nasal present. And I have shown you that the beginning point, the starting point, is actually the seventh class, right? The seventh class is this one. Okay. And from this one, you can get all the other classes. And but how exactly? I explained that this fifth class in Sanskrit. Yeah, okay, I read it here. Yeah, this is actually Proto-Indo-European. Yeah, so this is actually comes from the PIE. Yeah, and in Sanskrit it's actually na and na. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. To be specific. Yeah. So this comes from actually the Proto-Indo-European ne and n. Yeah. And then we talk about this class, and in explaining this fifth class, I suggested that actually this class is based on this kind of roots. So if we have a root having with the structure, with such a structure, namely CC means two consonants, right? So CC U, and this is a 0 grade. This is a 0 grade, and I hope you remember that the infix class should be built to the 0 grade. Okay, yeah, just like the na, n, or other classes. So if you need an infix, then you need a. So if you need an infix, you need a, how to say that? You need a 0 grade. So these two things you should keep in mind. This relationship. If you use an infix class, you usually use a 0 grade. Okay. So for example, if a root its 0 grade look like this, and then if you put the ne and the n between, because infix you put the infix in between, right? So if you have such a structure and then you insert a ne and a nu and ne and nun, and then you will just perfectly, I mean smoothly, you get this no and nu. So this is the background of the 5th class. And then today, we're going to talk about who could be this CCU. And this is exactly the root for here. Yeah. So this is actually one of our topics today. One of our topics today, we are going to talk about the word for here. Yeah. And here you see, if you check Sanskrit grammar, let's do it. So if you check Sanskrit grammar, you find it here. I think it's big enough. Yeah. You see, shlu is the 5th class, right? So in the Sanskrit grammar, it's 5th class because it has the present form like this. So it is 5th class. And this is he here's active, and then this is middle, and this is middle, right? Yeah. This is the 5th class, but we will check it later. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually one of the topic today, and another topic we're going to talk about laryngeal again. This is actually very important for the Indo-European linguists. I mean, and I'm sure that it is perhaps the least known, one of the least known points if you learn Sanskrit, Greek, or Latin in China, because usually you don't. The teachers who teach Sanskrit, Latin, or Greek in China, they usually don't mention this laryngeal. But laryngeal is very important in explaining the forms in all these classical or in all these ancient languages. For the laryngeals, actually, we have mentioned actually this word, right? So this word, Sanskrit, I mean, I think I should put it clearly. So this is the Sanskrit word for pas, and it has very complicated declension because it actually has upload. So it has So it has upload, and then also with laryngeal. So it is pretty complicated. Okay. So we're going to talk about this word again, but in how do you say that, in a textual context. So we're going to read some passages containing the word pas, and we're going to analyze the meaning of the word. Okay, so this is actually 2 parts. So first one, first part is about this root, and the second one is about laryngeal. Okay. Okay. So now I think we can start. So before we start, let's have not really a game, but let's have a have some question and answer. Yeah. So pay attention. Here comes the question. So what is the antonym or opposite of question? Or ask, yeah. So question, I mean, question, you can also understand question as asking a question, right? Okay, so what is antonym, so 就是反义词 or opposite of ask or question, yeah. There are 3 options you can choose from this, yeah. First one, the opposite of ask is answer. Second one, the opposite of ask is not ask. Yeah. The third, none of the above. None of the above, yeah. And 4, both, yeah. So what is your answer to this question, yeah? So what is, okay, none of the above, yeah. Well, not ask, okay. Okay, 3, yeah, none of the above. And for those who who choose 3, I mean, for those who choose 3, can you tell me what is the opposite of ask or question? Or answer, yeah. Well, actually, I kind of expect that you would choose answer, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I just want to use this example to kind of to raise this question. I mean, to kind of to start our thinking. Oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I hope you were fine. Okay. Okay, so what is the opposite or antonym of ask? Yeah. So basically, these 2 are not wrong, actually. Okay, ask the question in return. Okay, that's another possibility, right? Yeah, so I really like your phrase, this one. Yeah, this is really important. This is what we are going to talk about today. This is actually the key point. This is the key point today. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. This is actually the key point today. So this is actually for not really. This is actually for mathematic logic, right? This A and not A, right? So this is actually not really serious. Okay, this is, yeah. So actually, mathematically, I mean, the opposite of something is actually not something, right? There's a symbol, right? I might, some of you might probably seen this symbol before. So this is actually this symbol, right? So this is actually not, this actually means not A, yeah. Actually means not A, yeah. But since we are talking about languages, it is actually not really correct if we're using this one. So actually, the normal answer should be answer, right? The normal reply, yeah. So this is actually used in a, how do you say that? How do you say? Is it a reciprocal? 就是相互的，就是 so actually used in a communication context. So if I ask a question, and then the opposite should be you answer it, right? So there are actually 2 persons, and one is asking, and the other is answering, right? So actually 2 persons are, when we use ask or when we use answer, both words anticipate actually two persons or two parties, right? Okay, so that's why I say that in return is actually very important. So now let's probably move on. This actually goes back to the, how do you say that? To the explanation of the question I mentioned in our group chat, that so this is actually the problem and we are going to solve it, right? So I mentioned Old Persian text. There's the Old Persian text. And if you check the Old Persian, wait a minute. So for the Old Persian text, we need to use this text edition by Rüdiger Schmidt. Wait a minute. So I show you the text. So this is actually the most updated text edition by Rüdiger Schmidt. So Schmidt is actually a student of Meyerhofer. Student of Meyerhofer. Okay. So we use this book, and then we find in this Old Persian text, there's such verse, or such a sentence called diese Inschrift lesen wirst, right? So this is actually iman dipi pati-prs, right? So it is actually, I read it here. So iman dipi pati, right? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Prisahi, sorry. Yeah. So this is you. Yeah. This is actually, yeah. This is actually you. Mm. Yeah, this is actually a subjunctive, not really present, but important is actually this word. So if you check the dictionary, we move on to the dictionary by Rüdiger Schmidt. Again, you see this is the dictionary we use for Old Persian inscription called Wörterbuch der altpersischen Königsinschriften by Rüdiger Schmidt. I think it's published recently, right? Wait a minute. Yeah, it's 2014. Yeah, it's pretty recent. And then we jump to this this word. So this word, if you check the dictionary, you will find it really strange, right? So the verb actually called fras, and fras. So let's take a look. So this verb called, sorry. So this verb called flas, and there's one point. The Old Persian, OP stands for Old Persian. Okay, so Old Persian s comes from Proto-Indo-European k, or I probably should write it like this. So this is a sound change, and we know that it is connected with a Sanskrit root called prish, right? Prish. Okay. And then this is the original meaning, but if you check hier, das Verbum simplex hat immer die Bedeutung bestrafen. In DB mit Figura etymologica, uflasta, ufrasta presa. Yeah. And then we have the present, right? So present has this form, right? And then the Old Persian, the Old Persian s actually comes from a consonant group. So actually, prs, this s cannot go back to k, because if it is k, it should be like this one, s, right? If we have a s, and it actually goes back to this consonant group, and then we know that this is the sk present, right? And then, as someone has already mentioned, actually, if we check the paper by Filippone, he mentions that this word actually originally means ask, but ask in a specific context, namely to ask someone to account, to explain. So if we ask someone to explain, it means that he has done something wrong or something uncomfortable, something like that. Something needs explanation, right? And then why this ask should develop a meaning like to punish or to ask to ask to account, because actually we have a suffix, right? This suffix, this esk suffix, has actually two specific meaning. First one is called incoative. We actually mentioned this, yeah, incoative. And the second one is called iterative. So iterative means repeatedly. Yeah, this is actually means repeatedly. Yeah. So then this word, to be specific, actually to ask repeatedly. So what is actually asked repeatedly? It is actually interrogate, right? If you use the English word, so it is actually interrogate. Interrogate means, I mean, to ask in repeatedly and also in hostile, right? Usually a negative sense. So if you ask repeatedly and you just got suspicious, you want to punish him. So this is the semantic change I want to highlight. But the next one, pati-prs, it means to read, right? Pati-prs. It means to read, yeah. And then this is really something strange, right? Okay. So in order to explain this, let's move on to, so let's first take a look of another related word called Sanskrit, called shru. So Sanskrit shru, if you check the Sanskrit dictionary, yeah, I already have it here, right? So it means to listen, to attend to something, to hear, to be attentive, right? So this is pretty kind of, yeah, there's no problem, right? So it means to hear, yeah, right. But if we check a compound, so let's check a compound called prati-śru. Let's check this one. Take a look. Prati-śru actually means to the dictionary is not well. Probably we can check the German dictionary. Okay. So this is another thing that I want to point out. Wait a minute. To assure, to promise something. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I hope I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So actually, you see, prati-śru actually means to assure, right? Agree, to promise something. Yeah. Yeah. So śru means to hear, right? Yeah. Śru actually means to hear, but prati-śru means to assure, to agree, to promise something. Okay. So this semantic change, you see that this is a semantic change, right? To hear something, but prati-śru means to assure and to agree, to promise something, but nothing to do with hear, right? It actually means to say something, right? Promise or to assure, right? Yeah, okay. And then let's move on to the Indo-European root of śru. So let's check this root. This is actually so this is Sanskrit śru, right? And Sanskrit śru actually goes back to the Proto-Indo-European root called, this comes from, actually comes from the, wait a minute. Okay, just to use this sign, so to be, okay. Okay, so you see, so this is śru, this is kleu. Kleu means to hear. So this also not a problem, right? Okay. And you find it like in Greek. In Greek, it's called klute, and you have it like imperfect, right? Imperfect, you have it like su shrava, means he has heard, right? But take a look. There's something very interesting. Let's check this form. Have you seen this? So this is actually, so first we check the form, we check the morphology. So this kleu actually has this ne or a nen, present. And then from this ne n present, we actually have this no on the nu, right? So, so I write it like this. So this is a full grade, right? And then we need the 0 grade. So this is a 0 grade. Okay. And then from the 0 grade, we put a ne inside, right? We put a ne inside. And then it will turns into a neu, right? And this neu turns to become becomes all in Sanskrit, right? So this is actually no. So this is actually no in Sanskrit. And then what happened? This kya is a palata sound, and the Sanskrit is a Saturn language, so it changes to kya. Right here. Yeah. And L turns into a R in Sanskrit. Okay, so this is actually the process. I hope you all know that PIE. I've mentioned it before. So PIE and turns into Sanskrit So so L and become the same consonant. They both turn into So this is the reason we have this. And check, there are 3 consonants, right? So we have to make the consonant in the middle, and this is a resonant, like this. So this is why we have in Sanskrit, sorry. So this is, wait a minute. So this is the reason why we have in Sanskrit Shrinoti, yeah, because it goes back to this one. And this sh, I hope it's clear, right? So L between consonants, it becomes a vowel, sh, yeah, okay. And the 0, then the Shrinu is the same. You just change. You just delete this a, and it's just the same thing, right? Okay. So it's just the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So what is the problem here? The problem is if we check the Tokaran word called kanem, right? And this is Tokaran B, and Tokaran A is called ke ninch. So this actually, the ending, so we can neglect it, so it's okay. So actually this is the stem, kan or kun, yeah. So accent is here, so accent is here, so this is why we have R here, right? Okay, and then the meaning here is to sound. Turnen means, if we, I can check the German dictionary for you. So turnen actually means to sound. So to sound or make a noise, make a sound, right? Yeah. Why do we have this? Yeah. So, okay. So this is a problem. Yeah. Could you explain 0 grade and 4 grade briefly? So 0 grade, I think how do you say that? So with a vowel a, this is 4 grade, and without a, this is 0 grade. Yeah. And if you want to know the detail, I think you can check the previous videos. I just explained in great details. Yeah. So 4 grade, you have a vowel. Get it? 4 grade, you have a vowel here, right? This is the 4 grade. If you delete the a vowel, it's a 0 grade. You get it? This is the, okay, yeah. You have an A, this is 4 grade. You don't have an A, this is 0 grade. Just this simple, yeah. Okay, and then the problem is that we have in Tokaran this word sound, make a sound. So what is the relationship between, so here, the original root, put it here. So the original root means here. The "n" with the "n" suffix, it means to sound, to make a noise, to make a sound. So what is the relationship between here and sound? Can anyone just type briefly? Yeah. So what is the relationship between here and sound? Sound, to be specific, actually, what is sound? Sound means actually make someone hear, right? This is sound, right? To make someone hear. And I hope you still remember the meaning or semantics of "n" suffix, right? Yeah, nasal present. What is the semantic of nasal present? It's actually causative, right? Yeah, but causative in the sense that not really that strong, but it has causative sense, right? And of course, we have another causative that is the real causative. You find it. This is there's another causative. Yeah, this is another real causative. But in the present, nasal present, the semantics also it has causative sense, right? So if you build nasal present nen to hear, it can have the meaning make someone hear, and this is exactly preserved in Tocharian, right? But in other languages, like in Vedic or Western or Old Irish, the meaning is, I mean, the causative meaning is not that strong. Okay, so this is one possibility. And another possibility goes back to the words meaning perception. The words meaning perception usually can have, how to say that, the reciprocal meaning. Reciprocal. 就相互性，就是会有相互性。So kind of in return, like this one. But in different context. Probably we can just use the example. The word smell. We can say that can you smell the flower? Prati-śru. Well, prati-śru actually means against you. Yeah, but it is pretty. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the prati-śru means to against someone, opposite, to the opposite. And I will mention this later. Yeah. So first, just let's take an English example, so that you can get the meaning. You can get the meaning. So you can, first to check this example, smell, and then you can understand this sentence. Words meaning perception really can be reciprocal or kind of in return. So smell, so let's build two sentences. Can you smell the smoke? Yeah. Can you smell the smoke? Yeah. But there's another word. Or can you smell the flower? Yeah, sorry. So can you smell the flower? It means that, yeah, you use your nose and you smell, and then you find and you perceive and you know that the flower is there, right? Okay. And then the flower smells, the flower smells great or smells good, right? Yeah. And the smell in these two sentences actually have two different meanings, right? So can you smell the flower means that you get the, so what is the meaning of smell the flower? It means that you capture, so actually you capture the odor of the flower, right? 就是我需要用中文讲一遍吗？就是 smell 就在这句话里面的意思，就是说你可以感受到那个花的那个香味，对吧？就是这个相当于是你可以感受到，就是这个花的香味进入到你的 鼻子里了，对吧？ And the next one is that the flower smells good. Actually, it means that the flower sends odor to you, right? To you, yeah. So this is actually an example to explain words meaning perception can be receptacle, can be reciprocal. Okay, and then let's check the meaning of prati-śru. So prati-śru, it can mean hear, right? Listen. Also in the dictionary, right? So hinhören, sein Ohr leihen, vernehmlich sein. So I really prefer German. Okay, so for German it's much better, I think. So the English, well, the English does not really convey the nuance, the details, right? Okay, so so prati-śru, actually in German, it's called hinhören. Yeah. So hin, let's check the German dictionary. Okay. Hin. So hin actually face the road, face, yeah, hin, towards, right? So towards, outward, then back. This is not relevant. So here, hin actually means face, towards, right? So actually you hear kind of your how to put it in Chinese, 就洗耳恭听，大概这样的感觉，就是you hear with your attention, and you use your attention to hear, right? So this is one, and then from this hinhören, there's another word that comes the meaning to assure, to promise something. Yeah. So this is zusagen, versprechen. Yeah. So you promise, you say something, right? Yeah. Zusagen. Yeah. So zusagen again. Zu means towards something. So this example tells us that the words meaning perception, or hear is also a perception, right? Hear and smell and something like this. So these words, if they used, wait a minute. So words meaning perception can have this reciprocal meaning. In this case, we have to use, in the case of Sanskrit, we have to use this preverb, right? And this preverb, prati, if you check the dictionary, let's check the dictionary. So prati, take a look, towards, against, right? So this is actually a preverb. Towards, against, right? So what is the meaning of towards and against? It's strongly, how to say that? It means that there are two. This means that there are actually two parties, right? There are two persons. Yeah, actually two persons, and they kind of communicate and they interact, right? So interacting. Yeah, this is actually the meaning. Prati, yeah, right? Prati-śru and prati, right? Okay. Let's take another example. Does anyone? Yeah, hören. Yeah, the listen. Sorry. Yeah. I already read this. Hören means to hear, right? Yeah, hören means to hear. Does anyone know the meaning of verhören? This is here, and verhören. Does anyone know the meaning of verhören? Yeah. Okay. I think we can check. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. This actually interrogate. Yeah. Verhören means to interrogate. What is interrogate? Interrogate means ask. Or ask, how to say that? To ask in a hostile attitude, right? Interrogate, to ask repeatedly, right? Yeah, ask repeatedly. Yeah, right. Interrogate. Yeah, interrogate. Yeah, it means actually the opposite, right? To hear. You hear something, and then you ask something. So this is to hear, and then this is to ask. Yeah. Okay. Why? Because we have a fair here. And does anyone know fair with connected with which Sanskrit word or which Sanskrit proverb? This is a proverb, right? Yeah. So let's take a look. Yeah. Important here, the is actually pla. Yeah. Okay, I put it here. So where actually I put it here. So German there is actually connected with Sanskrit pra. Yeah. Okay. And pra and prati, they are actually also related. Let's check the dictionary by Dunker. Wait a minute. So actually, pro. This is the origin of Sanskrit word prati. Make it here. This is pretty big, right? Big enough, yeah. So Sanskrit prati means against, and proti, it comes from proti, right? And proti means to, towards, against, and pro and proti. Does anyone actually pro? So actually, in Proto-Indo-European, we have proti and pro. Yeah. And what is the relationship between these two? This is actually, if we check Dunker. So this is the explanation. Put it here. Yeah. So proti is actually closely related with pro, and it is actually derived from pro. So pro plus a t, and t is actually adverbial and ablative. T is actually an ablative adverbial ending. You have also in Anatolian, like in Hittite or Luvian, yeah, I guess, yeah. So this T is actually an ablative ending. So proti and pro actually related. Let's check another word. So this is proti, right? And check it. Here is something important. Vedic, I write it here. So prati, so this is Vedic, prati, right? And also in Greek, you have proti, right? And then let's move on. This proti has actually a variant. Namely, poti. So, sorry, pati, yeah. So actually in Proto-Indo-European, we have two forms of this proverb. One is called proti, the other is called poti. And very interesting, proti and poti both exist in Greek. Like here, you have in Homer, in Thessaly, or Boeotian Doric, and you have this form called poti. Yeah. But you see, Greek because Greek actually has both proti and poti, but proti exists only in Sanskrit, in Indic, and poti only in Iranian. There's actually no poti in Sanskrit. You couldn't find it here, right? Yeah, so poti only in Western Iran or Old Persian and something Iranian languages, but proti only in Vedic. And this is actually, this tells us actually the, how to say that? The word for, so I put it, should I put it here? Wait a minute. Probably. So I use this, so this is Old Persian. Originally, it means actually to ask, right? And then if you use a suffix, if you use a prefix, it actually to, not to ask, but to tell, right? Just to check this one. So shru means to hear, right? So shru means to hear. Shru means to hear. And if you use a prati to make a reciprocal or to express the meaning of the other side, it means to tell, to promise, to say something, right? From here to say something. And then ask means that you want to, so what is the meaning of ask? Ask is actually to, how to say that? You want to get information from the others, right? And if you use pati, it actually express the, how to say that, opposite meaning, or the meaning, how to say that, the reciprocal meaning, yeah. So then it, so ask means to get information from others, yeah. And then pati-prs actually to give information to others. So this is actually basically the semantic change. Then it means to read, yeah. To read, to tell, yeah. To read, to tell. To read something, yeah. Okay. I hope it's, I think, I hope you can understand the meaning of this. I hope you can understand this explanation. So there are 2 points. I make a summary. So words. So first, the how to say that, the word here, kleo. This is, so I make a summary. I hope it's, I know it's a little bit complicated. So this is here, right? And if you use, so from here, with nasal present. So with nasal infix, you can have the causative meaning. And causative meaning means to make someone, to make some, yeah, to make here, right? Yeah, and this is the example in Tocharian. Yeah, this is the example in Tocharian. Okay, and then here, if you use a preverb, and this preverb, prati, means against, towards, and then you can have the not really causative, but the opposite or the reciprocal meaning. namely to say, yeah, to say something, to promise, to how to say that? To promise. Yeah. Okay. And then based on this, so from this, like verbs meaning perception, how to say that? The perception words, perception words can be reciprocal. And then from the word plus, so this is Old Persian plus, means ask, right? Ask. And then you put a pati, plus, means actually to read, but read actually to tell, right? To tell, to provide information to others. So this is actually, yeah, this is actually the logic, yeah. Prati and pati. I hope it can explain this phenomena, right? I hope it's not too chaotic. Okay. Okay. So this is actually what I want to explain. The first point. Yeah. And before we move on, let's make a stop, and we are going to talk about the word. This one. This word. So this is actually. Wait a minute. And then, as I said, that you can also compare the German word. So you can So you can compare the German word hören, hören, and verhören. So this is also the point here. So you use a preverb, which has the meaning of against, towards, means to reciprocal, to each other. So it means that kind of interaction between each other. And yeah, so this makes a semantic change. Okay, and then before we stop, let's so before we make a stop, let's have this one. So does anyone know satya? Satya means, the meaning of satya. Yeah, truth, right? Yeah. So it is actually truth. In Pali, it's satya, right? So what is the opposite of satya? The opposite. You put a a before it, right? So it is asatya or asatya, right? So this is falsehood. I forgot the meaning. I forgot the sorry. Falsehood, right? Yeah. Okay, and then the question of sat. Sat means, let's check it. So sat actually means real or existing or good, right? So good, honest, wise, right? So sat, like Sadama Pundalika, right? I hope you all know what Sadama Pundalika is. Sadama Pundalika Sutra, right? 妙法莲花经. Okay. Yeah. So Sadama Pundalika has this sat, right? So sat means good. Okay. So my question is, what is the antonym of sat? Okay, so this is a question, and then let's make a stop, and I will explain it later. Yeah. Oh, okay. I stopped the recording. Wait a minute. Recording. Thank you. Yeah. So let's make a multiple choice. So first one is asat. The second one is asat. Yeah. Asat. The third one is both of the above. Yeah. And the fourth one is none of the above. Yeah. So please make a choice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Both. Okay. Yeah. First, okay. Asat. Both, right? 4. None of. Yeah. Okay. 3. Both of. Yeah. Okay. What should I put it like this? What is the correct antonym? Yeah. What is the correct? Yeah. And does anyone know the difference of what is the antonym and what is the correct or historically correct? I mean correct. I mean historically. Historically. So actually, if we check it, so the reason why I write this one is actually to show that already in the Sanskrit language, there's already secondary development. There's already some secondary development. So this is why I put it like this. What is a historically correct antonym of sat? Because if we check so let's check the dictionary. So let's check the Rigveda dictionary, right? So this is a dictionary for Rigveda. So let's put asat here. So it's correct, right? We have it, asat, and asat means nicht seiend, not existing, right? So it is not good, not true, right? So this is correct, asat, right? But take a look. Ferner mit Verlängerung, so hier, also asat ohne Unterschied der Bedeutung. Die Pada-Handschriften hat überall asat. So what is the meaning of this sentence? The sentence means that in Rigveda, we have a lot of occurrences of asat with a short a, but we have also in these verses asat, and the meaning is different. Ohne Unterschied der Bedeutung, without difference of meaning. But the Pada Handschrift only has asat. Okay, so let's probably check check one sentence. So this is a verse we're going to read today. So anirena vachasa farguvena prati-yena kriduna tripasas ada te agne kim iha vadanti anya yudasa asata sachatam. So this is a verse from the fourth mandala, and let's check the edition by Max Müller. Okay, so this is Devanagari, and you find it here. This is what we are going to read. So it's here. We start from here, right? So anayudasa, right? This is anayudasa. And then asata. So this is I don't know. This is how to say that. So this is pata-pata, and I don't know how to call this one. This is the original recitation of the Rigveda, right? And in this version is asata, right? But in pata-pata, and pata-pata is actually a later analysis of the original recitation, original Rigveda text. So actually it divides the words, it divides according to the sandhi, right? So there's no sandhi here, and you check it here. The pata text just replace the asata with asata, yeah. But which one is more correct? Actually, this one is more correct because this as goes back to the Proto-Indo-European root called, wait a minute. So this is actually the root called hes, right? So this is the root called hes, right? And then we have in Vedic called asti santi, right? Yeah. So this root is called hes, right? And then in order to build a participle, we need to use a weak grade. Participle, 0 grade, yeah. And the 0 grade of this one, you just delete the s right here, and then you put a 0 grade, yeah. And, yeah. This is a 0 grade, yeah. And then you use negation. So this is the participle, right? Yeah. And then take a look. Laryngeal at the beginning disappears, and then it becomes this one. So laryngeal disappears, and then we have this one, sunt, right? And then you have to make it into a vowel. So that's why you have set here, right? So this is the reason why you have set. But if you have a negation, put an n at the beginning, right? So n is actually the negation. The negation in Sanskrit is called r. This is negation. And this negation actually comes from Proto-Indo-European n, yeah. But n with a circle. And also we have other cases, right? This n, if you check, how to say that? If you check English, you have unhappy, right? Unhappy, oder? Und unbekannt, this is German. This is German unknown. Yeah, German unknown. So this they also go back to the same thing. Yeah. Just to remember what we have talked about previously. So the word for it's not really the exact example, but take a look. So shata means 100, right? And what is Latin word? Canton, right? And the German word is called 100, right? So take a look. This R and this N is Yeah, they all go back to a resonant. This is actually this one, but yeah, this is actually this one. Yeah. Okay. And okay, I think it's enough. I'm not going to talk about more. Yeah. So you know that are they correspond to each other. I mean, this this are, and then this and this are, right? Yeah. Okay. So actually, this is go back to this in. Yeah. So now there's something different. If you have an n at the beginning and then you have a laryngeal, this laryngeal will not disappear, will not simply disappear. So this is the R, right? Wait a minute. So this is R, and this is laryngeal, and it will lengthen this R. And this N, again, to R. So that's why we have actually Arsat. This Arsat is more original. Okay. So this is actually the case of Arsat. And probably we can read the text again to read the verse. Yeah. Okay. So the meaning, Anirena vachasa parguvena. So Arinena actually means yeah, so that's why I find the English translation not really good. Yeah. So this is the English translation by Stephanie Jamison. This is the English translation by Jamison and Brereton. And this is the German translation. This is German translation by Goto. Yeah. Okay. So let's check the versions. So a ni rena actually comes from a plus ira. Yeah. And this is instrumental. So we analyze it. So a ni rena. This is instrumental singular. This is instrumental singular of anira. On anira means actually without juice or without this strengthening drink. Yeah. Okay. And I think it's actually, so the English translation should be insipid, right? Yeah. So anireta. So if we check the so destitute of vigor. So without this strengthening drink. So this actually goes back to ida, and ida actually there's a word called ida, and ida actually means the strengthening drink. So the god just so this is important for the god. So without the strengthening drink, so destitute of vigor. Yeah. So this is actually the meaning here. Yeah. Destitute of vigor. Okay, and this is attribute to vachas. So this verb, so this word has no vigor. There's no vigor. Yeah. And then farguvena. And farguvena actually means, how to say that? Nichtssagend, so say nothing. So there's a kind of a vacant, empty word. Yeah. This is also an attribute to vachas. You see that is ena. Okay. And then prati-śru. Again, this is no, right? Yeah. And prati-śru, this is again, we have this prati, right? Yeah. Okay. Prati. And prati there's also something interesting. So let's check plati. So we all know that you all know that E means go, right? Go walk. Go, yeah, right? Go, advance, yeah. E means go, yeah, this is pretty sure. But what is the meaning of plati? Plati, pla plus E, yeah. What is the meaning of plati? Plati actually means to come back. Again, this is, so E, oh, wait a minute, sorry. So E means go, advance, oh, sorry, advance. But prati actually means come back. So this is also, how to say the opposite, right? Yeah, go, advance, and come back. Yeah. So this is also the reason why we have the plati here. And if you need more examples, there are actually a lot of kram. Kram also means to step, right? Approach, to go across, right? So kram actually means to go across, right? Or actually also go, step. Yeah, this is also. I think you can guess the meaning of pratikram. Pratikram means to come back, yeah, step back, means to return, yeah. So again, you find actually pratikram means come back, yeah. So this is the reason. Plati is actually the reason because it means something against. It can mean towards. So plati can mean towards, also against, and against the opposite, right? So it's actually back, against the back. So this is in return. So this is exactly actually something in return, or something reciprocal. Yeah, so this is, yeah, this is the reason. Okay, and then prati-tiena. Let's check it. So prati-tiena, this is also, this is instrumental singular, right? So this is instrumental singular. It actually means erwiderung. So it's actually against something. Erwiderung, I don't know how to put it in English. Reply, okay. Return, reciprocation. Yeah. So it's actually against, yeah. It means reply, okay. Or, yeah, in German it's called Erwiderung, yeah. Okay. And then kridu na. So here we have actually two words. One is kriduna and another is atri pasa. So one is kriduna. So kriduna, again, it is instrumental singular. Yeah, it means verstummt. So it means stunted, right? Yeah, verstummt. Probably, let's check it. I don't know how to make it. Shortened, mutilated, small, mutilated, deficient, yeah, probably mutilated. So it's a shortened, mutilated reply, okay. So atripasa, so this is nominative plural. So this is a special nominative plural form. nominative plural usually should be as, right? But in Vedic, there's another ending called asas. It's just like in Pali, because in Pali you have also ase, right? If I'm not mistaken, in Pali you also have a nominative, right? In Pali you also have a nominative in ase, right? So this is actually related to this one, asas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dhamase. Okay. So it is the negation. So it actually means not satisfied. Yeah. So not satisfied with these things. So with not satisfied with words without vigor, and words which is empty, which is vacant, says nothing, and then not satisfied with the reply, the mutilated reply, a shortened reply. Okay. And then ada te akne kim iha vadanti. So ada means here, yeah, here, yeah, and te means they. Sorry, te means they. This is a plural of. So te is actually pronoun, plural, nominative. Nominative. It is demonstrative. It is actually demonstrative pronoun, also in third person. Yeah. Okay. So here, they, Agni, what? Kim means what? Oh, sorry, Iha means here. Yeah. And Ada is actually connected with Vadanti, right? I have to check it. Sorry. Oh, it's not Adas, right? Ada. Then it means done. Sorry, this should be done. Yeah, this should be done. Yeah. Yeah, this is a word called done. Da'of. Yeah. Okay. Da'of. Yeah. And no, I think it's not under, but this word ada. Ada is kind of a particle. Means then. Okay. Yeah. So ada, then, what then, was done, they, Agni, here, Iha, here, say or speak. This is hidden, yeah. Okay. And then Ana Yudasa, again, this is, wait a minute. Ana Yudasas. So here you see R plus a R. So we have a sandhi here. So originally it is sas. So this is asat. So originally we have this one, but this as before R disappears. So this is a regular sandhi. Yeah. So originally we have this one, and again, again this is nominative plural. Nominative plural, right? Okay. So na yuda, so without weapon. So ayud means weapon. So without weapon, yeah. Without weapon. Without weapons. So without weapon, you see this is sachantam. Sachamtam, right? So we have such, and such means follow, yeah? And this is imperative, third person plural. Let them follow. Okay, yeah. And then follow what? So follow means to be together with something, right? So that's why we have here instrumental. So this is instrumental singular of nothing. Yeah, this is actually nothing. Asat, not existing. This is actually not existing. Yeah. So from sat, and I have already explained why we have a long A here, and this long A is older, historically correct. We have a long A here, means nothing. Dann nichts verfolgen. So ohne wer Ausrüstung sollen sie denn nichts verfolgen? Okay. And but Jamieson, the English translation, you check it. So let them be accompanied by speech that does not come true. Well, could be, right? So this is actually, so this is not existing, and the English, according to the English translation, it is explained as a speech, which is omitted here, and then that does not come true. Yeah, but wordly, literally, it actually just means nichts. Yeah, so they follow nothing. Yeah, they follow something empty. They follow something which does not come true. Yeah, and again here, be accompanied by. It is actually not passive. It's actually it's actually a medium. It's not a. It's not really a passive. Okay, sachan tam. Yeah. So now there's a question. All the other words. So there are. So this. So in Vedic text we have accents, right? So here is accent. Here's accent. Here's accent. But why here we don't have accent? Vadanti. Why no accent? So this is my question. Vadanti and Sachantam. Why? Sorry. Why no accent? This is my question. Yeah.我要用中文重复一遍嘛，就是吠陀梵语，它词都是有重音的，都是要标重音的。大家看好了 ，him、iha、ana、udasa、asata and so on。但是为什么这两个词 vadanti 和 sachantam 没有重音？Why no accent？你们是不是你们听到了吗？可以，有什么想法吗？Yeah, and then why? Yeah, I know they are verbs. Yeah, but why? Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I can say it. Yeah, because they are in the main sentence. Yeah, right. Yeah. So they are in the main main sentence or main clauses. 但这里其实没有 clauses，所以无所谓了。So actually, they are in the main sentences. So verbs in the main sentences have no accent. And then, which means that verb in the clauses or the Nebensatz, in the, how to say Nebensatz, in the clauses, the clauses, accents. Okay. Okay, so this is this is everything for today. And so let's make a very brief summary of what we have done today. So at the very beginning, it's a little bit complicated. I hope you can get the main point, get the most important information. So I start from the nasal present, namely the fifth class. And as I explained last time, the fifth class comes from the seventh class because fifth class is built on verbs which have such structure, namely CCU or CCU. And then if you have CCU, you put a ne inside, you put a n inside, and then you will get a no and you will get a u. And the example is actually the word, the root, shru, means to hear. And in Sanskrit grammar, it is fifth class. But in the Indo-European, from the Indo-European perspective, wait a minute. From the Indo-European perspective, it is actually ne-n present originally. It's not a no-nu present. It's actually ne-n present. Yeah, check it here. Yeah, okay. And then, okay, I haven't talked about this word, probably next time. So we can talk about the past next time. And then we checked the question and answer that, and we try to explain the strange word, namely pati-prs or pati-prs in the old Persian inscription, right? So the verb is actually ask, right? But in the present, it means punish, right? So actually, it means punish. Yeah. So this old Persian verb in present means punish because it comes from the meaning ask to account. So repeatedly, it comes from an iterative meaning of ask. So ask repeatedly, interrogate, so then punish. So if you interrogate someone, you just do it in a hostile, negative way, right? Okay. And then, in order to explain this, we use another example. Namely, the shru means to hear, but prati-śru means to assure, to promise something. Okay. And then, we also checked the Tokaran material, because in Tokaran, the form is karnen or kerninch. So it also goes back to the ain nasal present, kr, no. And I also explained why we have shri no here from this one. There are actually two developments which are important, namely the palata, original palata turns into a sibilant, kya, kya, to a sh, and then the liquid r, l, turns into a because in Sanskrit or in Indo-Iranian, these two liquids turn into single one, namely yeah. Okay. Yeah, and actually the meaning of the Tokaran verb is actually sound, make a sound. It's different from here, right? Why? Because sound actually means make someone hear. And this causative semantic comes from the nasal present. Okay. And then this comes from this one, we have another information, namely the, smell. Yeah. Namely, words meaning perception can have reciprocal, how to say that, reciprocal meaning, kind of an interaction between the two persons. Okay. So we use the example, smell. Okay, smell the flower and the flower smells good. Yeah. Okay, so there's something to do with your perception. Okay, and then shruti, shru here, and prati-śru means literally here towards, but here towards also means you say something towards. So it's kind of yeah, two parties, it's a reciprocal. It's an interaction between the two. Yeah, okay, and then we also mentioned the German word called hören and verhören. Und hören means hear, and verhören means interrogate, ask. Yeah, so this is also a kind of opposite, right? To hear something and to ask something, because the German ver actually etymologically connected with Sanskrit pra, and the proti and pro. So Sanskrit prati comes from so here. So Sanskrit prati comes from Indo-European proti. We also have in Greek proti, and we also have another poti in Iranian pati, also in Greek poti. And proti is derived from pro with an ablative suffix t, and this ablative suffix is preserved in Hittite, and also I'm not probably also other languages, but Hittite, Anatolian languages, they have this t, yeah, for certain. Okay, so then we know pati, fair, prati, these three preverbs can express the meaning of reciprocation or the interaction between the two. Okay, and then this is why we have prs, means to ask repeatedly, interrogate, which means to towards, right? So this is actually so ask is actually you want to get the information from others, but read or tell, it actually means to give information to others. So this is actually the pati-prs, the reason, the why pati-prs can mean read. Okay, okay. Yeah, and then also we explained why prati-śru can mean to promise, to say something against, towards others. Okay. Okay, so this is basically, and then we talk about the laryngeal, namely we read a verse from 4.5.14, and this is a negation of sat. So sat comes from the root be, okay, exist, so exist, yeah. And then the participle is called sat or sant because the laryngeal at the beginning is lost. But if we use a negation, so this is negation, and we have an n at the beginning, and n plus a laryngeal turns into a r. Okay, so that's why we have here asat. But already in the Vedic time, you also find other examples with short a. And in the pada-pata, there's a very interesting phenomena. Even you have a in the recitation in the Rigveda text, the pada-pata will change it to a short a. So you can see that in the time of pada-pata, they already couldn't understand why it should be a long a. So they have no idea of laryngeal, of course. Yeah, they don't have. Yeah, they couldn't know laryngeal, right? Yeah, okay. And this is, and then we explained the verses, and also we checked other examples containing this plati. E means go, plati e means come back. Kram means go step, plati kram means come back. So this is also an opposite, the reciprocal meaning. And the last one, you have to keep in mind, verbs in the main sentences have no accent. Verbs in the clauses, Nebensatz in, how to say that? Nebensatz. They have accents. So this is a principle in Vedic texts, in Rigveda, also in Vedic prose. Okay. Okay, so this is, yeah, I mentioned this before, yeah. Okay, so this is everything for today, and thank you very much for, yeah, thank you very much for your attention. Until now, it's already 2 hours, yeah, okay. And I hope you enjoy the weekend and have a nice evening. Okay, okay, so see you Monday. So Monday we have a Tokaran class in German, and also and in Tuesday we have another class. I forgot, probably a Latin class. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So thank you again. Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.